Okay, so I'm going to explain how the project recording sheet works. So we have our name, group members, date, and class period. Our project recording sheet is basically where we record all of our work that we do for our project. So each project starts with a driving question. The current project we're working on is the 8th grade field trip project. So our driving question is, how can we, as event planners, create a proposal for an 8th grade field trip to present to our principals? The first thing we do after we write down a driving question is knows and needs to knows. So things we know. For example, we are planning a field trip. We also know that we are presenting to our principals. Things we might need to know, like what is our budget? Or where are we going to go? Okay, so the knows and needs to knows are a continuous process. You're going to be doing this throughout your entire project, not just the first day. So that's why you have several pages of knows and needs to knows columns. Every time you learn something new, you put it on your knows column. Every time you have a question, you put it on your needs to knows column. Okay? Next steps. After you have done some knows and needs to knows, you write your next steps. So what could my next step be? Maybe we could brainstorm ideas for where to go. Okay, that's an idea. Or it could be something like start calling around and finding different ticket prices. Or asking what our budget is. Who do we need to ask for that? There are lots of different things, and so next steps are what your game plan is and how you're going to get this done. Then here we have boxes where you show your work. So we have step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. This is the math part. This is where you might write, well, the cost of each ticket is $10 times however many students. What I found is the total cost will be ... So this is where you show all your work. Now every group's packet is going to look different. Every group might start with a different step 1, and that's okay. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, it's just your flow as you go through the project, and it's a way of showing your work and then writing what you found as your final answer so you keep your work organized. So when you go back, you're trying to make your final presentation and you're like, wait, how much is it going to cost us for tickets again? You flip through your packet, you find what I found that says the tickets cost whatever it is. So you're going to have several pages of steps. This is where you're going to show your work for the entire project. So do not lose this project recording sheet. This is what you need for the entire thing. Okay? So you get all the way through here. You have up to 28 steps to write your work. Okay, if you need more paper, I can get you more. And then towards the end, we have preparing for the presentation. So here I have given you a template for how to make your final product and how to prepare for actually presenting. So what is the final answer to your driving question? Remember that we started with a driving question, so we're going to end with an answer to the driving question. And then it says, what will your final product be? So are you going to have a poster, a PowerPoint, a video? How are you going to explain this to your audience? And then what information will you include in your final product? This is where you pick what is most important and summarize the process you use to arrive at your answer. You include only the most important numbers, not every single calculation you did for the whole project. So going back to here, you're not going to write all the math you did on one poster. There's no way. It's not going to fit. So you pick the most important math with the most important numbers, and you're going to write that here. This is an overview. It's like bullet points. Okay? You need to make sure that you can explain this from start to finish in about 5 minutes, because that's about how long you have to present. After you know what information is actually going to go on your final presentation, you are going to prepare for questions that the audience is going to ask you. So the audience is going to ask you really challenging questions. They're going to want to challenge you and see what you really know about your project. So you're going to come up with the 3 hardest questions that you think you could be asked by your principal, the audience members, whoever you're presenting to. and you're going to answer that question so that when they ask you, you already have an answer, you're prepared, and you know exactly what you're going to say. Okay, so the last part of preparing for the presentation is you're going to prepare what you tell your audience in advance. And right now, at least in the beginning when we do projects, we're going to write them down on index cards. It is perfectly okay to write what you're going to say on an index card and read off the card while you're presenting. That way you make sure you don't trip up, you don't forget important information, and it runs smoothly. So here is a script for you. Hi, my name is so-and-so. Everyone will introduce themselves. Then we did a project to answer the question, whatever your driving question is. In order to accomplish this, we had to, and this is where you explain the whole process, what you did, all the important numbers, everything that you had just written over here is what you're going to put in this part, the explain your process. Okay? At the very end, so everyone's going to explain, they're going to take turns explaining, right? Because this is a group project, everyone has a role. And then finally, we came to the conclusion that, and then here's the answer to your driving question, which you already wrote right here on this previous page. Okay, what's your final answer to the driving question? And then you say, are there any questions from the audience? And you're already prepared because on the previous page, you prepared for the questions the audience was going to ask you, and you have answers. Okay? Once you have done all this, you're going to write the script here, and you can copy it onto index cards. Okay? So this is an overview of how to use your project recording sheet, and good luck.